So I've started my second comic, and this one is inspired by flies and how they're so difficult to catch that I thought the Hammer Time song Can't Touch This would be their theme song. So now I'm working on turning it into a comic, and yeah, we're going to see how it goes. Here is the staging area where I have all of the words, the object, character turnaround, and then I came up with the background and tried to create a scale so I'd know how big the fly is versus the fly swatter, and that's one big sandwich or a small fly swatter. So I made a copy, well, 2 copies just in case, of the background, and then I used that to do the scribble on this side, draw on this side to transfer it. And I have the second one just in case this one got destroyed. It didn't, and I did 10 frames. That was a lot better than I thought it was going to do. And I went through and I transferred them on, and then I went over it in the red pencil that I have. I didn't want to just start roughing out on the background in case I erased it too much. So I got a scrap piece of paper and that my kids had scribbled on, and then I roughed out, okay, he's on the sandwich, there's a fly swatter, that's scene 1, and then scene 2. I made it so I was happy with the way it looked on this. Then I started roughing it out on each of these. Now I'm working on the fly swatter to help show depth and make it look a little more realistic. I figured out over here that it's gonna be 6 by 9 squares. I was trying to just draw it on, but that ended up being such a pain. Got dirt on my hands. And so I realized that putting these little dots on the outside, where I could gauge how many lines. And then I'm going to try and do the same thing this way. I'm going to do the last panel outside, so if you hear buzzing or birds, that's what it is. So I have 13 by 19 for this fly swatter lines, and for most of it I was just winging it, trying to make them roughly even, but it is way easier to just put in a middle line and then a quarter line, and that really helped with the different perspectives, so that way they're evenly spaced, or like a little smaller if it's tipped up, and then a little bigger on the side that's closest to, I guess, what would be the camera. Since this one's pretty flat, it's not going to be as hard as the other ones that were bent and curved up to the camera. When watching other artists, I noticed that they spend a lot of time going back and forth. Like if they're drawing a face, they do a little bit of the eye and a little bit of the nose, and then a little bit of the other eye, a little bit of the jaw. And that going around really helped with the fly swatter, because when I would try to just go from this side over, I would end up using too much room or too little room, and then I'd have a bunch of space. So if I do a little, and then a little over here, and then a little, and then a little, it ended up being more even and worked out a lot better. I keep forgetting to go back and forth, and I just want to go one direction the whole way. I should put dots down here. Fine, I'll do it. And then I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, already messed up. Okay, so then over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I have the difficult part of trying to move the lines or erase the lines, whereas if I just did the dots first, I wouldn't have had this problem. So there's an example of what I've been doing this whole entire time, which is frustrating, but all my fault. Very, very avoidable. And none of these fly swatters look great. They've been the most irritating part of this one. But the other option was drawing a hand, and I'm not sure that would have been easy or not. Probably not. And at least this way I get to work a little more on a more simple structure and how it relates to the depth, how to show the depth. Okay, and then I should do the same thing over here. I'm drawing on a palette, so there's nothing supportive here. Just not making it very easy. And I'm trying not to go over the, what's it called? The action line, which is right here. The whoosh. That's messed up. I'm sure this is not the optimal way to do it, but until I have enough practice to understand how I should do it, this is what's happening. Oh, I forgot my pen. Where is it? I don't think it's in here anymore. Oh, no, it is. I started by using this fine liner. I shouldn't hold it upside down. Marlboro fine liner. And it ran out. So I'm using a Pilot G2. I wanted it to be kind of curved. I don't know if that's going to work out. Okay, so let's see here. Just kind of do the edge. The other problem I've been having is trying to fix the drawing while I'm inking it. And that keeps... Oh, it just looks awful. At least to me. I'm sure it's not that bad. And then in the end, I'll move on and get to the next thing. Next thing. Okay. that right? Okay, so let's see here. If this is going to be the lip, the edge of the fly swatter, like that. Okay, then this is going to be first hole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so this is the edge. Certainly not the best pen for the job. Come on. Okay, this pen's not working. I suppose I could try this brush pen. We'll just see here. Okay, this is better. I know my perspective on many of these fly swatters is, whoa, weird, way off. But I'm trying to just keep going and learn as much as I can so I get better. I don't want to spend a bunch of time making this one look really good and then not get that much better, because this one offers, this comic has very different challenges than the first one I did. And I know the next one I have planned. I have 2 that I'm thinking about, and they are both gonna have different focuses, different background options. One of them is gonna need to have 2 backgrounds and backgrounds from different perspectives, unlike this one where I kept perspective the same. Ugh, such a wonky one. Also, doing straight lines is surprisingly difficult. For the fly guy, this is going to be kind of fat for him, but I guess we'll do. I'm not sure how I should make the wings move, but that's what I kind of decided on for this one. It's okay. That looks funky. Okay, and not as crisp as the one with the other pen, so I should definitely get a new fineliner. I can try, let's try the 0.4, because I was using the 0.2, which I liked. 0.4 is not that big of a difference. Okay, and that is that. So that is the last, that's the comic done. Now I just have to erase it after the ink dries. I finished the fly comic. It's done. And that's it. And I drew in a little more border lines, but other than that, it's just finished. Let's see. And next page. Overall, I'm happy with it. I guess. Every time I look at it, I see all the little things I probably should have done a little better if I just spent a little more time on the, what would it be, the roughing it out phase. If I just structured it a little better. One thing I noticed when I was inking it and it was too late was that this one right here, this fly was supposed to go from the sandwich and then kind of zoom up and be a little more centered.
So that way, when it came to this one, he actually has somewhere to go instead of being like, well, he was right here and now he's right there. It's not a very big dodge. So that was a little irritating to find out, but it's done. So the fact that it's done, I've finished 2 comics, makes me happy. So I guess that's it. We're done. And now I already got my second one started. I mean third. My third one started, and I'm working on the script for my fourth one. And my hope is to have 2 comics every month. Once the comics get longer, it's probably going to go to 1 per month. And this is going to be fun. Well, let me know if you preferred more of the follow along, and maybe I could do some more videos showing the process, or if there's something else you want to see that I haven't shown. Thanks for watching.